Merhaba herkese. Gönülsüz bir katılımcıyla başlıyorum. Evet, bir merhaba desin diye getirdim. Merhaba de oğlum. Çok tatlı. Koca oğlan 1,5 yaşında artık. Tosuncuk, tosuncuk. Hadi git bakalım. Hadi bakalım. Çok istedim. Sevmez. Kucakta durmayı hiç sevmiyor. Hiç. Evet, şimdi ikinci dersimiz. 10. haftamızı. Tamam. Kendini şimdi temizliyor. Çok tüyleri çünkü karıştı beyefendinin. Evet. Çok affedersiniz. Evet, Truva'da kalmıştık arkadaşlar. Evet, ne demiştik? En son Türk otoriteleri Truva'dan kaçırılan şeyleri getiriyorlardı. Kalıntıları Türkiye'ye getiriyorlardı. Evet. Peki gerçekten bir Truva Savaşı oldu mu arkadaşlar? Bu her zaman için bir soru işareti. Was there really Trojan War? Okay, the big question. Yes. That's the big question researchers face. And was there ever a Trojan War? And if there was, then is this really Troy? Yani burada mı oldu, başka bir yerde mi oldu? Hani adı Truva diye burada olmuş olması gerekmiyor. Unfortunately, the only written remains found at Troy that date before the 8th century BC Greek occupation is a seal written in a language called Luwian. And scholars have noted that the topography of Troy, as told in the legend, does seem to generally match that of the real-life city. And as noted earlier, people as far back as Homer's time also believed this to be Troy. Yet the archaeological remains still pose a few problems. Troy at the time of the Trojan War was apparently destroyed by earthquakes, and later on may have received people from southern eastern Turkey rather than Greece. These issues have researchers with a mystery. At one end of the spectrum of opinion is the conviction that there was indeed a war. There was a war, and that is, it was pretty much as the poet Homer described it. The modern-day excavator of Hisarlık, Korfman, believes that the story of Trojan War contains some truth, and according to the current state of our knowledge, the story told in the Iliad of Homer most likely contains a kernel of historical truth, he says. So, whether there was a war or not, we are not certain, but there was something going on there at that time. Okay. This is finished now, Troy. It's a big subject, it's a huge subject, and I believe it's a beautiful subject. I have never been there, but I would love to be one day after this whole thing passes, hopefully. And now I would like to talk about Miletus. Judging by the modest number of tourists reaching the ruins of Miletus, it is hard to believe that in the antiquity, it was one of the most important cities of the region. In its heyday, challenging the power of Ephesus even. Founded by the Greeks on the coast of Asia Minor, Miletus will be remembered in history as the birthplace of mathematician Thales and two famous philosophers, Anaxagoras and Anaximander. Miletus was also one of the oldest and most important Greek cities of Ionia, boasting not only one but 4 harbors. And today, the crowds of sightseers from all over the world rub shoulders in Ephesus, but leaving the pleasure of discovering the secrets of this magnificent city, Miletus, to only small groups of curious visitors who manage to reach this site, because it is a little bit hard to reach the site, yes. We will talk about this in a few moments, okay? First, I would like to say a few things about its history? Well, again, according to a legend, Miletus was founded by a hero named Miletos. And there are three versions of this story regarding his origins and adventures. According to Ovid, Miletos was the son of Apollo and Dione, exiled from Crete. Crete is Girit adası, Crete by King Minos, and Miletos, settled in Asia Minor, and he founded the city of Miletus there. And he married the daughter of the river god Meander in that place and had two children with her. This is the first version. And in the second version says that Miletos was the grandson of Minos and the son of Apollo. His mother abandoned him at birth in the forest, fearing the wrath of Minos. Miletos was nursed by a she-wolf and later adopted by shepherds. Resmen kurtlar tarafından büyütüldü olayı. Evet. Many years later, unaware of his origins, Minos fell in love with his own grandson, who fled to Caria. Interesting. He married the daughter of King Eurydos, Iodia. And the final version, the third version, states that Miletos was the son of Arya. He was abandoned by his mother and adopted by his grandfather Kleos. He grew up to be a handsome young man and attracted the attention of Minos, who wanted to rape him. Miletos fled from Crete, first to the island of Samos, where he founded the first city called Miletus, and then to Caria, where he founded another town of the same name. All these three versions of the legend have two things in common. Maybe you saw it. The father of Miletos was Apollo in all three of it, and he fled to Asia Minor from Crete, escaping the unwanted attention of King Minos. Yes. These three legends reflect the close ties between the historical city of Miletus and the Meonian civilization of Crete. Evet, yani Girit adası ile Milet şehri arasında bir bağlantı olduğu kesin yani. Okay. When we look at the prehistory of Miletus, it is not currently possible to determine how long Miletus area had been inhabited by humans, because any potential traces of the first settlement are located under thick layers of sediment deposits of the river Meander. Meander, Menderes Nehri arkadaşlar. Bunun getirdiği alüvyonların altında kala kala çok fazlasıyla derinlerde gömülü kalmış. İlk yerleşimlerle ilgili bütün belirtiler. Evet, the oldest traces accessible to archaeologists come from the Neolithic period, which are between 3500 and 3000 BC. And when these areas were located on several islands located off the coast at the mouth of Meander, bu zamanlarda, Neolitik zamanlarda çeşitli adalar olarak görünüyormuş burası arkadaşlar. Yani kıyıdan uzaktaymış Menderes Nehri'nden. Evet, yes, it's when we want to talk about Bronze Age, around 1900 BC, the items from Crete, Girit adasından gelen bazı itemler, identified with the Minoan civilization appeared in Miletus. Most probably they were trade objects. The impact of Minoans on the development of Miletus, visible over the next centuries, and corresponding layers of the archaeological excavations seems to explain the origins of the founding legends of the city, binding this event with the influx of people from Crete. And clear traces of settlement in Miletus are dated to the Mycenaean, in Turkish it's Myken uygarlığı arkadaşlar, Mycenaean times, in the middle of the second millennium BC. And at that time, Miletus area was settled mainly by the Carians, the indigenous people of Asia Minor, and the settlers from Crete. And there are preserved fragments of city walls, houses, and lots of ceramics from that time. And in literature, Miletus first appears in the Iliad, where the Milesian princes are mentioned, fighting alongside the Trojans as their allies. Yes, I mentioned this in our first lesson. And then Greek settlers came to Miletus in the late 11th and early 10th centuries BC. And according to local tradition, they came to the city under the leadership of Meleus, son of Athenian king Codros. After landing, they murdered all the men living in Miletus and married the widowed women. The aim of this story was to explain the enduring alliance between Athens and Miletus, which was crucial during the wars with Persia. Well, the period of greatest prosperity of Miletus was in the 7th and the 6th centuries BC. Especially from 650 BC, the city developed tremendously thanks to the colonies founded on the shores of the Black Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. At the turn of the 7th and 6th centuries BC, the kings of Lydia attempted to conquer Miletus, but they were successfully repelled by the famous Milesian tyrant, Trebulus. This ruler features in an anecdote from Herodotus' histories, in which a messenger asked him for advice on the art of ruling. Trebulus took the messenger for a walk in a field, where he cut off all the tallest ears of wheat. En yüksek buğdayların başlarını kesmiş. Arkadaşlar, the message was that a wise ruler would remove those prominent men who might be powerful enough to challenge him. Mantıklı. It's logical. But then he was called a tyrant. Well, Persian rule and Hellenistic period, when the independence of Miletus ended in 546 BC, together with the nearby area of Lydia, it came under the Persian control. And the Milesians responded to such a turn of events with a rebellion against Persia, with the participation of all the Ionian colonies in Asia Minor. It's a very famous rebellion. And despite initial successes on burning the capital Sardis, the rebels were finally defeated, and they lost their fleet at the Battle of Lade in 494 BC. In retaliation, the Persians captured and destroyed Miletus, and some of its inhabitants were resettled far inland, Tuampe, on the shores of the river Tigris. And as a result, Miletus lost its dominant position among the cities of Ionia, and it has never regained its former glory. Well, in 387 BC, the Greek city-states of Ionia, including Miletus, fell again into the hands of the Persians, following the terms of the Peace of Antalcitus. After the successes of Alexander the Great in Asia Minor and the victorious battle of the Granicus River in 334 BC, Miletus opposed the Macedonians as the city, sheltering many Persians who hid there from the Macedonian army. Residents of Miletus, fearing Alexander's attack, tried a diplomatic solution, offering to open their harbor for both the Persians and the Greeks. Alexander did not accept the proposal and sent his army to the city, which began to demolish the walls. And Miletus fell after just one day of fighting. The Persians, hiding in the city, watched the defeat of their allies, but they did not come to their aid. Well, after taking the city, many defenders of Miletus joined the ranks of Macedonian army because their fighting skills made a great impression on Alexander. Okay, Miletus is a very big city, and there is so much to talk about it. And I will continue to talk about Miletus in our third lesson together, okay? And until then, I will see you. Take good care. Bye.